I need to tell you guys about something that happened to my cousin Braden last year. Even now, I still get goosebumps when I think about it. The whole thing went down in Sacramento, California, in this really quiet neighborhood called the Pocket area. You know those places where nothing ever happens? Perfect lawns, people jogging with their dogs in the evenings, kids riding bikes until the streetlights come on. That's the kind of place this was. Safe, predictable. The kind of neighborhood where you wouldn't lock your doors until bedtime, until this happened. Braden is 22, and he's been babysitting for extra cash since high school. He's always been good with kids, the type who actually gets down on the floor to play with Legos or draw pictures instead of just scrolling through his phone all night. Parents loved that about him. He never had a single bad review from anyone, and a lot of families kept calling him back. He didn't just watch the kids, he made them feel safe. The Hendersons were one of those families. They had a 6-year-old daughter named Maya. Sweet kid, smart, but sometimes a little off in the way kids can be. She'd say things that didn't really make sense, or she'd get this faraway look like she was listening to something no one else could hear. Braden had babysat her 4 or 5 times before, so when the Hendersons called him one Friday night, he didn't hesitate. Easy money, he figured. Their house was on Florin Road, part of a newer development where all the houses looked like they'd been copied and pasted from the same blueprint. 2-story homes with beige stucco walls, neatly trimmed hedges, and identical mailboxes. Braden arrived around 7. Mr. and Mrs. Henderson seemed a little rushed, already dressed for their work dinner downtown. As usual, they gave him the rundown. Bedtime was 9:15. Maya could have popcorn but no candy, and their emergency numbers were written on a sticky note stuck to the fridge. But before they left, Mrs. Henderson did something she'd never done before. She pulled Braden aside, lowering her voice like she didn't want Maya to hear. "If anyone comes to the door tonight, don't answer it," she said. "We're not expecting anyone." Braden thought it was a weird thing to say. Parents were always overcautious, but there was something about the way she looked at him, like she really meant it. Still, he nodded. "Sure, no problem." Maya was curled up on the couch watching a Disney movie when her parents left. Braden made some popcorn, and they watched together. For the first hour, it was a normal, quiet night. Around 8:30, Maya went upstairs to brush her teeth. The bathroom was directly above the living room, and Braden could hear the faint hiss of water running through the pipes. That's when the neighbor's dog started barking. Not the excited, someone's walking by kind of barking, but sharp, panicked barks, almost yelps. Braden glanced out the front window. The street was empty under the soft yellow glow of the streetlights. Parked cars lined the curb, their windshields reflecting the light. But there was no movement, no people, no reason for the dog to be going crazy. Maya came back downstairs in her pink unicorn pajamas, clutching her stuffed elephant. She was quieter now, and her eyes kept flicking toward the front door. "You okay, Maya?" Braden asked. "The man was outside today," she said. Her voice was soft, almost absent-minded. Braden frowned. "What man?" "Mommy saw him by our mailbox. She called Daddy at work." It struck him as one of those random kid things, probably the mailman, or maybe a delivery driver. He didn't push it. They finished the movie, and at 9:15, he tucked her into bed upstairs, read her a story about talking animals, and waited until she drifted off. Downstairs, the house felt even quieter than before. The Hendersons had this faint vanilla candle smell everywhere, pleasant, but almost too sweet. Braden sat in the living room with his laptop, planning to get some homework done. The Wi-Fi password was taped under the router in the kitchen. Every once in a while, he could hear the hum of the fridge and the distant ticking of the wall clock. Outside, it was still. It stayed like that until just after midnight. The doorbell rang, 3 sharp chimes in quick succession. Ding dong, ding dong, ding dong. No pause between them, just rapid and urgent. Braden froze. His first thought was that maybe the Hendersons had come home early and forgotten their keys. He went to the door and peered through the peephole. Nothing. The porch was empty. The only thing there was a package that had been sitting on the welcome mat all day. He stayed there for a moment, holding his breath. The neighbor's dog had gone silent. The whole street felt unnaturally still, like someone had muted the world. He didn't hear cars from the main road. He didn't hear wind or crickets, just silence. Then, footsteps upstairs. Maya's voice. "Braden?" He stepped back from the door. "Yeah, I'm here." She appeared at the top of the stairs, her elephant tucked under her arm. "Was that the doorbell?" "Yeah, but nobody's there, probably just some kids messing around." Maya came down a few steps. "Don't open it." Her tone was different now, serious, almost warning. "Mommy says the man comes back." Braden tried to laugh it off. "What man?" "The one who watches our house. Mommy told me never to answer the door when he comes." That sent a little chill through him. Still, he told himself it was just a story her parents used to keep her from talking to strangers. "All right, I won't open it," he said. "Want to go back to bed?" She shook her head. "Can I stay down here for a bit?" Something about her tone made him say yes. She curled up on the couch while Braden tried to get back to his work, but he noticed she kept glancing at the door like she was expecting something. 10 minutes later, something happened. The doorbell rang again, just once this time. Then silence. Then came the sound. Scratching. Slow, deliberate scraping at the front door lock, like someone was trying to pick it. The hair on Braden's arms stood up. Maya clutched his arm. "He's trying to get in," she whispered. The scratching grew louder. Braden's hand shook as he grabbed his phone to call the Hendersons, straight to voicemail. He tried again. Same thing. "Shit," he muttered. The scratching stopped. For a second, Braden thought maybe whoever it was had left. Then he heard footsteps on the porch. Slow, heavy, pacing back and forth in front of the door. He pulled Maya up. "We're going upstairs," he whispered. She nodded quickly, her little hand gripping his. They locked themselves in her bedroom. Braden's phone had no signal, no bars at all. From her window, they could see the front yard and part of the street. Near the mailbox, a shadow moved. Definitely a person, though the darkness hid their features. They stood there for several minutes, unmoving. Then they started walking toward the house, right toward the front door, and disappeared from view. Maya was crying softly now. Braden sat on her bed, one arm around her, his eyes glued to the window. He kept trying 911, but the call would fail every time. It was like his phone was broken, except he'd been using it fine earlier. They stayed like that for what felt like hours. No more scratching, no more footsteps. But Braden couldn't shake the feeling that someone was still outside, watching, waiting. Around 2 a.m., Maya finally drifted off, her elephant clutched tight. Braden stayed awake in the chair by the window, his heart pounding every time a shadow shifted outside. He must have dozed off at some point, because the next thing he remembered was the sound of car doors slamming. The Hendersons were home. But when they came inside, they found Maya asleep in her bed, and no sign of Braden. His laptop was still open on the kitchen counter. His jacket was neatly folded on the couch. His shoes sat by the front door, just where he'd taken them off earlier. His phone lay on the coffee table, completely dead. They called the police immediately. Officers arrived within half an hour. They searched the house, the backyard, the garage, even the neighbor's property. Nothing. It was like Braden had just stepped out for a second and never came back. The strangest part was what Maya told the cops the next day. She said she remembered falling asleep upstairs while Braden watched the window. But when she woke up, he was gone. She hadn't heard anything. No voices, no footsteps, no doors opening. Just silence. The case is still open. The police have no leads. Braden's car was still in the driveway. His wallet was in his jacket pocket. There was no sign of forced entry, no fingerprints, no struggle. 3 months later, the Hendersons moved away without telling anyone where they were going. Maya's new school is in a different district now. They never talk about what happened. Not to the neighbors, not to the police, not to anyone. Sometimes I drive by that house on Florin Road. There's a new family living there now. Kids playing in the front yard, the porch light on at night, everything looking perfectly normal. But every time I see that front door, I get the same sick feeling in my stomach. Braden's mom still posts on Facebook every few weeks, asking if anyone has seen him. Each post gets fewer comments than the last. It's like people have started forgetting. But I can't. Not when I remember the way Maya said, "The man comes back." Not when I think about that empty porch after the doorbell rang. I don't babysit anymore. Neither do any of my friends after hearing this story. Some things just aren't worth the money.